So the next subject that I wanted to talk about is more about Azure Standard, and a little bit, some of it is just another update. I try to do these every so often, and I realize, wow, I thought I just did an Azure Standard haul video. Maybe I just talked about some of that stuff in more recent videos, but didn't do a separate standalone Azure Standard haul video. And that's kind of what this is going to be, except for it's more about just some things that are different now that we have a drop point, and I'm so thrilled that we do. And I know I've mentioned in a recent live about the now that we do have a drop point, I'm able to get more of the things that I couldn't get when I was having to have it delivered directly here through UPS. There's certain things that you can't purchase the frozen meats and stuff like that. But with a drop point, you can. It's really great. So the one thing that I know I've mentioned that I tried recently was the Thousand Hills beef roast, which was really good. This is all US based meats. So this is one of the things I love about Azure Standard, is because even though I love Butcher Box and I love the grass-fed meats, beef that I get from them, all the beef that comes through Butcher Box comes from Australia. And for those of us who are trying to, especially now with everything going on in the political front, trying to look for more local sources is important. And we can't always get very locally sourced grass-fed beef, but I can get some through Azure Standard. Painted Hills is another place I was getting like the beef bacon, but now that I've tried the Thousand Hills beef bacon through Azure Standard, as much as I love Painted Hills, I like that one better because it's cut thinner and it cooks up a little nicer. So I'm getting a case of their beef bacon, and I'm not going to get a case of their roast yet because I have a lot of beef roast, elk roast, and deer roast in the freezers right now. So I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit longer. But I have my standard things no pun intended, that I've been buying from them for years. And one would be my grains. You can see, I thought I should probably fill this up before I showed it, but I might as well show it now because it's easier to show it when it's only got a little bit of grains left. So what this is the blend of their organic barley and organic hard white wheat, not red, white. I don't like red wheat, but I like white. So it's a whole hard white wheat. I was surprised when I first learned there was such a thing many years ago, and fell in love with it once I did, and realized why I never liked wheat bread is because I don't like red wheat, and that's what's commonly used. But anyway, I use a 50-50 blend of the two, and then I mix them together, and I fill up this jar and this gallon jar, and it stays in here because this is where my grain mill is. And I've been making so much more bread again lately that I've been going through that fast. So that's one of the things I'm going to do today. So I get all of my grains there now. I even have rye. I keep saying I'm going to grind up the rye and make some rye bread or a rye blend. And I keep forgetting I have it. It irritates me. But I do have rye. I have, I get their organic yellow popcorn and rice. I get there now, and pretty much all the grains, oats, even the chicken scratch. I get a chicken scratch from there that's organic, non-GMO, but I still add stuff to it like rolled oats and black oil sunflower seeds. They have some black oil sunflower seeds in it, but I add more because there's just a few in there. So I get that from Azure Standard. I get all of my nuts and seeds. Here's just an example. Brazil nuts, all of them organic. Azure Standard has the absolute best walnuts I've ever bought. And so I vacuum seal all the nuts into jars. This one's open. It was vacuum sealed in 2022. Still good because I kept them vacuum sealed. This one's open because I'm working through it, because I use Brazil nuts this is my selenium supplement right here to help with the thyroid. So I try to take 2 to 3 of these a day. Sometimes I eat a handful because I love Brazil nuts. I know they're not going to kill you. That's silliness. I get their fresh organic ginger and then I dehydrate it. I go through a lot of this. Not that I never use some of it fresh, but I like to dehydrate it up. I can powder this if I want, but I also have organic ginger powder as well. But mostly I use this for teas. I love, 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 love making teas out of that, either fresh or dried. It's great. I get some of their dehydrated fruits or dried fruits. Like I love their banana chips. They're so good, but I try not to open them. The babies love them too. Another one that Jace really, I found out he really likes are their dried cranberries. They have a lot of different dried fruits. I don't buy a lot. Like I'll never buy apples. Why? Because I have 2 apple trees. I have I have dried apples that go back to, I think I finally used up the 2016 ones, maybe even the 2017 ones. Some other things are the grits. Now, another somewhat new thing I got is I bought their dish soap before. This is a different scent than I bought before, but I bought a whole gallon because it's obviously a better price. And I like the smell of this one better. I can't remember what the other one was. Was it lemon? Lemon verbena or something? This one just citrus. I like the smell of this one better. So it's made for refilling smaller bottles. Because it's got a big, huge pour spout on it. So I got that. And then like I said last week, I decided to try the Nancy's grass-fed organic yogurt. And I hadn't seen that anywhere else but on Azure Standard. So I thought I'd try it. And that one's the honey or the vanilla. I keep saying honey. It's really good. And so I'm buying a case of it on my next order. And then I'm also going to try taking some of that, even though they say don't use the flavored ones. It's not that strong of a flavor. I'm going to go ahead and try using that to make some yogurt from. Because I do like to make my own yogurt every now and then. I just don't do it that much because of the cost of a good organic whole milk around here is just very expensive as it is. That is sometimes it's just not worth it to make yogurt when I can either, since I got to buy both these things anyway. Now, if I had dairy animals, that would be totally different. Let me see. I'll list off a few other things that I get from them. And that would be, that chicken scratches, the brand is Big Sky, is what it's called. They're organic pastas. I wish they had more shapes like the farfalle. I wish they carried that. So I still get that through Vitacost. And I get the Montebello brand, which is also organic and from Italy. But other than that, like the spaghetti and the elbow macaroni, now they have the organic in both of those. And the semolina, I don't like the whole wheat. You can get whole wheat pastas. I don't like them because they usually use red wheat and those. I don't like the flavor. So I like the semolina better. Whole white corn, I also get that dry because it's really hard to find a good organic non-GMO white cornmeal anywhere. And so I just get the whole white corn from them. And then when I need to, we change out the auger on my grain mill because you have to have a corn and bean auger for that. And then we'll just grind up a whole bunch of that. And then we'll have our white cornmeal for when I make the Tar Heel beans and cornbread, hillbilly beans and cornbread, whatever you want to call it, just beans and cornbread. Some other things I like to get is the Rumiano butter and cheese, and it's organic. No, none of that stuff injected into the animals. They do have some dried dairy powders. They don't have as much as maybe like Judy's on Amazon, or even Anthony's is getting more and more of the dried dairy powders. But like they don't have the butter powder or the sour cream powder, but they do have a cheddar powder, and this is organic. And they have the organic whole milks. They have like just a standard, and then they have the A2. You can get all kinds of salt. I've been getting the Himalayan salt there. You saw the dish soap. Palm shortening. I've been getting the organic palm shortening I use that when I'm making pie crusts, biscuits, and tortillas along with butter. I still add some butter in there too. The dry dairy. So yeah, they have and they also have, for those who are vegan, they also have a coconut milk powder. So if you can't have dairy or you're vegan, and you want something you can put up long term, you can get a coconut milk powder. I can't remember if Azure Standard has their own brand of essential oils, but I've tried a couple of different brands of essential oils that I've got from Azure Standard. Liked them just as much as the Now Foods. Seeds. I didn't bring any seeds in here, but all kinds of seeds poppy seeds, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, but also seeds for growing. Like I bought some rutabaga seeds because I haven't grown rutabaga in years. And I thought, I think I need some fresh seeds. So I bought some rutabaga seeds and just checked this morning, and I see little rutabagas popping up in there. I'm so excited. I've talked about them before and linked to people to the Amazon link in the past, but they're exactly the same things. Azure Standard carries them too. So if you'd rather support Azure Standard than, an Amazon, not everybody that sells on Amazon is bad. Good grief, people. But at any rate, there's good people that sell their own products and they're US, small business owners. But anyway, I've got them from Azure Standard, so at least Azure Standard is getting some support. But I really like these solid silicone lid liners because I can use them with these metal craft lids and then use them for food, and they don't leak. I can use them with any plastic lid. Love them. They've been great. Totally leak proof when I put those in there. I know there's going to be a crud load of stuff I'm forgetting because every time I place a new order, I try something different. I try to find something that I've never ordered from them before. And I know a lot of people have been buying their jars and just think they're great. I haven't tried them. I want to, but I just have so many jars that we had to store some in a completely different location because I ended up with so many from garage sales, people just giving them to us, that it's like, I don't know if I'll ever use all those jars, but I have them, so I don't need to buy more. Some of the things I'm going to be trying on my next orders are I have in my cart right now the rolled barley flakes. So it'd be like rolled oats, except for it's barley. And I want to try some of their frozen peaches. I plan on getting some fresh peaches when they're in season to can, but I'm thinking about trying their frozen peaches and see what I think about that. And if anyone has ever bought those and tried canning them, I'm curious as to what your experience with that is. And something else I decided even though I don't use paper towels very much, it's still nice to have them on hand. I noticed they had some bamboo paper towels, and I thought, I'm going to try those just for the heck of it. If nothing else, I can share with people what I think about them. But then, yeah, as they start getting more of like the fresh, in season fruits, I'm planning on getting for sure the peaches there, because every year I try to put up peaches because that's one of Patrick's favorite canned things to have on hand is peaches. While I'm on the topic of this, I know not Azure Standard is not available to everyone, and not everyone has a drop point. So a couple things I wanted to cover is before we even had a drop point, because that is very new. And I've been buying from Azure Standard for years. When you go to fill up your cart, if you don't have a drop point and you look at the cost of shipping, you might be, especially if you're buying 50-pound bags of stuff, you got to expect it's going to cost a lot. Can you imagine what it would cost you to ship 50 pounds of anything, even to the next city over, let alone maybe states away? Azure Standard is only a state down from us, but I know that they've expanded out so far that, their main facility is only the state down from us, but they've got more facilities now spreading out across the U.S., and they're catering to more and more people around the U.S. But at any rate, not everyone has a drop point. Like I said, ours is very, very new. I didn't think we'd ever get one set up here, and it's not from a lack of trying. Yeah, the shipping can seem really painful when you see it. But here's the thing you got to also figure in is the total cost. So when I was trying to figure out, okay, when I was looking at grains at Azure Standard and was thinking, wow, these are much cheaper for good organic non-GMO grain here than anywhere else, but it's going to cost me however much in shipping and handling. I don't remember what the breakdown I came up with per 50-pound bag. Or I can go to Amazon and get some organic non-GMO grains. I'm going to pay more for them, but I get free shipping. Free shipping. So what you have to do is you have to actually do the math, break it down. The Azure Standard cost of this item plus the shipping, add that in there, and then divide it by the pound. Then do the same thing with that on, because you might have maybe you can only get 25 pounds here, where here you're getting a 50-pound. That's why I say break it up by pound, the price per pound. Do the same thing with something that you're getting from, it doesn't matter if it's Amazon or some other organic non-GMO grain site that claims to have free shipping. Break up the total cost by pound and see what you come up with. What I came up with and the places I was comparing it to was that it was still either cheaper to get it at Azure Standard and pay the shipping, or about the same price, or maybe just a little tiny bit more. And if I'm already buying stuff from there anyway, it just made sense for me to do that. Not everything is going to be less expensive at Azure Standard, especially if you're adding in shipping, but some things are. So just do the price comparisons. So there's number one, but here's the main reason why I really love Azure Standard, and I love them more every day, is that most of what they carry, not everything, but most of what they carry is organic and non-GMO, and everything is vetted. So they always check for hidden ingredients that are, like food colorings and different things like that. And they check for, since they are focused on clean foods, they don't have any pork products, but they also check any of the products they sell, like hot dogs and whatever, to make sure that they are 100% beef. There's no hidden pork things in there. Like sometimes you can buy beef hot dogs, but they've got like some kind of pork skin, or not skin, but casing, that's the word I mean, around them that comes from pork, where Azure Standard checks all that stuff. So any of the things they carry is going to be clean. It's going to be, kosher could be what you might want to call it. But that goes for all the way across the board, not just that kind of stuff, but any of your standard hidden ingredients that could be in just about anything. And they also try to stick with doing business with high quality US companies. Not all of them are US based, but they try to go that way. And they also try to stick with ones that are not owned by one of the big five, if you know what I mean. And if a company that they were dealing with was a standalone company, but then got bought out by one of the big five, they stopped doing business with them and they stopped selling their product. And they'll leave that product on their website for a while, but then say discontinued, and then they explain why they discontinued it. I love that. I love that they do that. I love the fact that they have strong moral values and that they are US based. Now, it doesn't mean everything is perfect. And I wanted to share this little story because I've had a couple people tell me from other parts of the states that they've got grains from them and weren't really impressed. I've always been very, very happy with their grains and haven't had any issues, except for one bag of popcorn. And I've been buying popcorn for years from them, but one bag of popcorn ended up having weevils in it. But those weevils can enter into your grains at any time. Once I figured that out, I froze the grain. I froze the popcorn, but it was only that one bag. But other people were saying that they ended up having bits and pieces of other stuff in their grains. Now, they do sell grains that are specifically like unsorted, broken pieces type grains for a really cheap price that are for using for chickens, chicken feed. You can make your own chicken feed with it. And I bought those before, in the barley and the wheat, and it can have any kind of wheat in there. But there was one local lady, and this one surprised me, that she messaged me. I know her really well. She makes all her own bread, she grinds her meal, but she uses a lot of the hard red wheat. And so in her red wheat grains, there was lots of debris in there. Like it looked like, she showed me a picture. It looked like it had a split pea of something, not a split pea, but a lentil in there, and maybe some chaff and stuff that shouldn't have been in there. That I thought that was a really disappointing. And I'm thinking, well, that's interesting because I've never seen that in any of the grains I've had. And I wondered if maybe she got a mislabeled bag that was supposed to be for chicken feed. But then it kind of made me think of how a couple other people have shared having issues with their grains in the past, and I never have. And I'm being totally honest about that, but that's why I'm also sharing with you her story. She said she bought a bag of some other kind of grain and it was totally clean, nothing wrong with it. It was just the hard red wheat that she bought. And so I have no experience with that, but what I also can say is they get their grains from different farms all over the states. So sometimes it's going to depend on where that's coming from. I just wanted to be upfront about that story that this local lady shared about her experience with the hard red wheat grains. And so I'm wondering if that might be the same ones that other people, a couple other people said they had issues with when they were ordering from Azure Standard. But at any rate, they're dealing with a lot of different farms, a lot of different companies. They have such a broad array of products that they're selling that there's no way they could possibly guarantee every single item for every single order is going to be absolutely perfect. Nobody can do that. Everybody makes mistakes. You know, I've been selling products for years now, and sometimes I might send somebody the wrong item. Why? Because I'm human. Okay, so don't use one bad experience to, cull a whole company, because they are a good company, they're good people, and they're my favorite place to get my groceries from now, and more every day. And so there's still things I'll get in some other places, but it's definitely reduced my dependency on ButcherBox, Amazon for certain things, and even VitaCost. I really like that. I really like that I can get more and more the things that I use on a regular basis from one area and from a place that I trust. One more thing, I was going to share that they also sell live plants, like starts for herbs and beets, cabbages, vegetables, tomatoes, all kinds of stuff on there. And I know one local lady said that she got several different starts and they were all beautiful. So I was surprised. I'd be afraid to order starts online. But they said they were all in perfect condition. So I was like, that is so good to know. Is there a discount code? I don't have a discount code per se, Jackie, but I do have a link always in my description box to Azure Standard. So anyone who orders through that link and gets at least $100 worth of product on it has to be their first order, I think. I get a $25 credit to my account that then I can apply to my groceries. It doesn't really do anything for you, sorry, but I've noticed though that I think they're starting to offer discount codes now, I think. So I'll have to ask them about